Welcome to the Untitled Pittsburgh Sports Comedy Podcast on the Bet Rivers Network. We are at Liveberg Studios. Check them out, livebergstudio.com. Our producer, Ben Stonium, is here. John, they've done it. The Steelers are 2-1. They're over 500. We're no longer behind the 8 ball. What could go wrong?
I feel fantastic. I've got a mustache. Check it out.
I would love to see in the comments some feedback on John's mustache.
Mm-hmm.
I think the mustache as a standalone thing on you is fine.
Really?
It looks okay. With the gray wife beater, looks not okay.
Not okay. All right.
Just as an aesthetic.
Well, you know, I don't know if our listeners know this, but you can't wear stuff with logos on it because we don't want to show our allegiance.
Right.
You know, it's a licensing thing. We get paid very well, and we have to stay non-exclusive, non-compete. But, yeah, that's the level of confidence I have right now. The Steelers have given me. I thought we won that game, and I'm like, you know, I had the razor out. We were in the victory formation. I'm like, it, mustache. Let's go. But, yeah, thank God Jimmy G was underwhelming.
Jimmy G played terrible. He played like a broke dick Chris Maltasanti. It was like when
She must have crawled under there for warmth.
I think Jimmy G looked miserable the whole game. It's sort of like when Chris Maltasanti in The Sopranos when he like goes sober for a while.
Yeah,
and he's like,
"Oh man, that's on the money."
He's like, "Oh man, I can't even enjoy a cookout anymore. This is horrible." Like his body language was just terrible.
It's like the regularness of life is just too much for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the end of Goodfellas also.
Right.
He lives to live in Arizona like a jerk.
Yeah.
He played real bad.
Yeah, and we played just good enough, right? I don't know. That game was, to me, as an experience, watching it as a viewer, as a fan, couldn't have been more different, right? I felt like it went by quick. That Cleveland game took forever.
The Cleveland game was a 10-hour game.
Yeah, and this one was just like, I guess we were winning. I guess we had it going the whole time. The refs tried to let him back in.
I thought the fix was in.
Yeah. It was Vegas leveraging.
A thing that you've never heard of.
Listen, it's
never
one of those,
even considered.
It's like, they're like, you know how they talk about holding? They're like, I mean, holding happens on every play. It's just when, people are out there leveraging all the time. You just can't let the refs see you leveraging.
I never have heard of that ever before. Yeah. It's like, launching I've heard of because it was infamously bad call.
Right.
It didn't turn out to be that, but when that happened, I was like, oh, here it comes.
It makes you wonder what kind of other, obscure calls out there are waiting in the wings to ruin our lives.
Right.
Divesting the offense.
He liquidated. Yeah. He's liquidated. That's clear liquidation. Yeah, so much like people often say, Mike Tomlin needs, a challenge. Some nerd Moneyball kid to sit up in the press box.
Maybe someone from Point Park to sort of do the metrics.
Someone who can crunch the numbers.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Someone from Point Park would be perfect.
Yeah.
But I think the Steelers need that position, and they also need someone looking at the antiquated 100-year-old rules of the NFL and finding the ones that are the most flimsy and outdated.
Yeah.
Next to all the drop kick stuff.
Right.
To be like, listen, Coach T, when you're down there, say this to the ref. Tell him to look for liquidating.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them to look for divesting. And if they don't know what it is, then you can kind of flex I'm such a good coach. I know what these things are, and you need to be aware of them.
That's brilliant. Did you see? So early in the game, NBC, they do those kind of fun, quirky graphics. Did you see the shitty incline from
horrible
hell that they did?
Horrible.
I was like, I'm usually for that, and I'm like, I like that they do that. I think it's fun.
Some of them.
I think it's cool, but I saw that and I was like, yo, that's up. My culture is not your costume.
I said to my wife, because it's the start of the game, and it's very tense. And they try to, it's like a moment of levity, especially around Thanksgiving where someone's the turkey or whatever.
Yeah.
I was sitting next to my wife. I'm cracking a beer. I'm like, oh God. Yeah, oh God.
Yeah, they're doing a sick incline, like you know, is just
And the profiles of their faces.
yeah. Canada's driving it. It's like that was a bridge.
You don't even drive it.
Yeah.
What do you hit a button?
Right? Yeah. Come
Pull
on.
a lever?
Get out of here with that.
All right, John, before we move on, we've got to give out our Smash Dick Full Bush play of the game.
Smash Dick Full Bush.
I love that graphic. It tickles me. John, please.
Jaylen Warren, that blitz pickup. Collinsworth was into it, and so was I at home. Man, he's just such a violent, dick-smashing, bush-brandishing player. He's my favorite Steeler right now. No
I think
questions
that's
asked.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, he's my favorite Steeler.
Undrafted,
Yeah.
scrappy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he's the man, and I know that him receiving this honor, Jaylen, you're undoubtedly listening. Please reach out to us. We'd love to get you a shirt. I know that him receiving this honor will definitely make up for the $48,000 he was fined in the Browns game for simply protecting himself.
For being a G.
Yeah.
For being a real one.
The NFL has completely lost its way,
Yeah.
and Jaylen Warren is now, I mean, that's like a 5% of his salary.
Hey, Jaylen, we'll throw 5 on it. Well, Tad, everybody's talking about it. I can't stop thinking about it. It's the two biggest forces in American commerce and culture right now. Of course, I'm talking about the NFL and the Swifties merger. Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift. Looks like they're an item. She was at the game cheering on with Brittany Mahomes
With
and the rest.
Kelsey's mom.
Right? That's huge.
That's a big deal. Like, they're already, this is how far ahead in their relationship they are.
Yeah,
Like, when you bring the parents into it, it's like there's this back out, like, sunk cost thing where it's like, well, then Travis's mom is going to think I'm an asshole or whatever if something. It's great for the NFL right now. You've seen some of the numbers.
It's great for the tight end position.
You've seen, like, you know, Travis Kelce, his jersey sales are up 400%.
Yeah.
He got 300,000 followers on Instagram overnight because he's dating Taylor Swift.
Are you suspicious at all?
What do you mean?
I don't know. It's a stunt.
Follow the money?
Yeah.
Are you telling me to
I
follow
don't
the
know.
money?
It's like if the NFL, there was one little corner of the world, I don't think the Swifties were really tuning in on Sundays, and now they're reading coverages and talking about, shallow crossing routes.
It's a too high safety look. It's a
Right?
too high safety look.
Yeah, look.
The middle of the field is wide open.
Right? Travis is open. But it's not fair. You know, Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the league. What about some of these other guys? Are they, what's left out there for them? Okay, Taylor's off the market.
Right.
She's, A-list. Travis is A-list. What about like our guy Muth?
Pat Fryermuth?
Yeah, what do you think?
What are some well, okay, so, and we're scaling everything down, right?
Right.
So Travis Kelce, number 1 tight end. Taylor Swift, number 1 pop star in America right
it
now.
just makes sense.
It fits.
Okay.
It's a logical fit. Fryermuth? Let's say Fryermuth and Octomom from John and Kate +8, the woman that had 8 children in like a litter.
I think he could do better than that.
All right. That was just an idea.
I was thinking Fryermuth and like a pop starlet of the 90s, a la Sheryl Crow, Celine Dion.
Hey guys, I'm actually gonna stay in Vegas for a few days. Celine has a residency there,
Right.
And I'm just gonna like kind of chill with her for a while. She like needs me right now.
Yeah.
I think that's that's potentially what we're looking at.
Yeah. All right, well, the Steelers hopefully have made it back at this point. I know that the plane might still be in the air.
They were waylaid.
That's kind of scary, and if you're like me, the first thing you thought of was that a group of high-profile convicts had hijacked the plane and were going to return and land it on the Las Vegas Strip like they do in my favorite movie, Con Air. And it got me thinking about, like, who would be who in a Steelers version of Con Air.
Okay, all right. I'm going to name Con Air characters.
Okay.
And you tell me who they would be.
Okay.
John Malkovich, Cyrus the Virus.
Matt Canada.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Pinball, played by Dave Chappelle.
Pat Peterson.
Do you think that he's about to get thrown out of the plane
Yeah.
for not playing very well?
For how foolish he looked on that one touchdown.
Garland Green, played by Steve Buscemi.
Oh.
The serial killer, a man who once wore a woman's head as a hat and drove through 3 states or whatever they say in Con
I'm
Air.
going with T.J. Watt. Right? He's a maniac out there. He's a,
The way
he
they have
comes
to-
out in the thing, like the
to
Hannibal Lecter thing.
Transport him
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
like armed guards
Yeah.
on each limb. Okay.
Baby-O.
Who's that?
Tomlin. Oh, there we go. Ranger boy. And he's talking to Kenny, and Kenny, of course, is Cameron Poe. Right?
Kenny, yeah.
Kenny is Cameron Poe, and he's going to save Tomlin.
Well, John, there's already been a number of movie references today, even for us. It's been a lot, but let's keep this train rolling. I've got a little surprise for you.
Oh.
We're about to revisit the 1993 classic, released to theaters 30 years ago this week. Of course, I'm talking about Striking Distance. John, have a little popcorn.
Oh, little date night. All right.
Down in front.
Bunch of jag-offs.
So if you listen to this podcast, I'm sure you are familiar with Striking Distance. Bruce Willis, disgraced Pittsburgh police officer, searching for a serial killer who preys on women, throws their bodies
He's a
into
river
the
cop.
rivers.
Yeah.
Well, then he gets demoted to being
Right.
a river cop. And I believe this was actually the start of Bruce Willis playing hungover, disgraced cops. Okay, so think about it.
Yeah.
Striking Distance, Fifth Element, all the diehards,
Right.
hungover constantly. We need you. Only you can solve this.
Right.
So Striking Distance was sort of his gateway into being typecast as what I imagine to be a very relatable
Right.
guy who was fired from their job.
Sarah Jessica Parker, very good looking in this film.
Sarah Jessica Parker, Dennis Farina, and John, I know that you have a personal connection with this film as well.
Yeah. That's a list of stars right there. But also, my grandfather is in this movie. He's an extra. He dabbled in acting and theater. I don't know how it came about, but he's in there. So if I ever get asked for my Pittsburgh card,
Oh, you know we don't like that on this show.
that we do not like it.
We
when
don't
people
like
ask,
it.
Hey,
We don't like it."
where are you from anyway? You know, when you get that from some dude that grew up in Wexford that's going to ask you for your Pittsburgh card, right? My grandfather's in striking distance, motherfucker. So why don't you ease off with you were at the 2004 AFC Championship game or whatever.
I think that Dennis Farina is the most convincing Pittsburgher
Yeah,
in film.
yeah,
He multiple things with the dialogue, but also like you can see that character in every one of your middle school football coaches.
for sure.
Like unhinged, deep down knows he's full of shit.
Right, likes you, doesn't like you.
Right. It's all just
all
how they
mixed
got
up
out
there.
of bed
Yeah.
that day. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the scene that your grandfather's in, I
Yeah.
quote. There's a line in that scene that I quote all the time,
Okay,
but no one gets.
right,
It's when they get in that fight and they're at the policeman's ball and it's
Yep.
like a big disaster.
Right.
And they're like, "Tommy, you're not on the force anymore, you piece of garbage."
yeah,
And the cousin character, who you've been set up the whole time to believe is the one killing the women, stands up on the table with a whiskey on the rocks, and he goes, "Best day of the year, better than Christmas."
yeah.
I say that a lot, apropos of very little.
Better than Christmas. That's how I feel every time we do the show.
Best day of the year. Your grandfather's in the film.
Right, so I'm untouchable. I'm a made man. I'm Prince of the City.
What did he say about being in it? Did he get to meet Bruce Willis?
He actually, I think when I've asked him about it, he talked about how Bruce Willis was like, it was well known on set that Bruce Willis was like not happy. I think that was like
Not happy making the movie?
Yeah, like he, I think, wanted to go in a different direction. And I read an article about this with the director, Rowdy Harrington. Like Bruce Willis was in some disputes, and he wanted more creative control over how this film went. Like, I mean, it can't really get much better, Bruce. But yeah, he was not very nice, apparently.
On now, John, to the Houston Texans, who are not as bad as many predicted.
Yeah, I mean, the bad teams that you thought were going to be bad, okay, maybe, but there's some surprises, you know. Cardinals beat the Cowboys.
Exactly.
The
The
Texans,
Josh Dobbs Cardinals.
yes. Texans might be good. I don't know.
Maybe. I've seen some troubling statistics regarding C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
Just like, he was the first rookie quarterback to throw for 300 yards in his first 3 games since Cam Newton. So, look, I feel like I personally have a karmatic debt that I have to work off because I've talked so much shit on so many Ohio State quarterbacks
Right.
over the years because they've sucked.
Yeah, that's
And-
not on you. That's just...
And for
yours.
well, but yeah, I've maybe been a little over the top
Okay.
in my critique and my criticisms of Ohio State quarterbacks. I don't know. It would suck to lose to a rookie quarterback. And I want to be very clear about the Raiders game. I don't feel a whole heck of a lot better. I mean, it was exhilarating to be in more than 2 third and manageable situations on
Sure,
offense.
sure.
The rainbow in the dark to Calvin Austin was sick.
But boy, that's a great way to put it. We were in the dark
Yeah.
up until that point.
Yeah, it wasn't going great. So I'm not excusing the offense. It's not like, oh, they've righted the ship.
Nah.
I do want to bring this up. I don't know if you've seen this. Here it is. Antonio Brown's crudely photoshopped of Matt Canada
yeah. We're going to give this
as-
oxygen as Hitler.
as Hitler.
I did take a screenshot of that.
I did too, because
just felt like someone needed to.
document this
Yeah,
moment
like,
for all time.
Holy shit. That's not cool.
So it's harsh, even for your most
What is
depraved friend.
What is he doing?
And then he cleared it up a few moments later when he then tweeted Adolf Canada.
Right. That was the one I saw, and then I went back. And
He
went,
went back
he
and
really?
said, right, he actually did that.
Yeah. Not cool. Not cool
We don't
to do.
condone that.
Not cool to do. I hope he gets the help that he needs.
I do too.
You know, people. It's 2 weeks ago. People were like, maybe they'll bring in AB. Maybe they won't. You know, if you're like, oh, maybe, you know, I could see if Deontay's out, we'll practice squad. What could it hurt? I'll tell you.
Right.
I'll tell you what could hurt.
Imagine being like,
Matt Canada.
imagine being, well, not Matt Canada, but imagine being like Matt Canada's brother-in-law. And you're
just
like, oh man, they're really going after him again.
Yeah.
Cheryl, have you seen this? He's your brother. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to tell you what Antonio Brown is saying about him.
Man, he played that card. I guess that was a card to play.
It was messed up. As soon as I saw it, I busted out laughing.
Yeah, same.
Because it was,
But that's not cool of us.
no, it's not. It's not.
It's not.
Now, that being said,
Which it was.
how could you do anything other than bust out laughing when you see it?
Maybe AB's got a comedy special.
Imagine being in a nightclub with AB. You're in his entourage,
Yeah.
and you're like the tech guy.
Right.
You've passed yourself off as a tech guy because
Yeah,
you
yeah.
told him to restart his phone one time when it was
Yeah.
like glitching or whatever.
You're really good at this, man.
He's like, "Hey, listen,
Yeah.
I've got an idea for a banger meme."
Yeah, AB did not Photoshop that himself. That's
No,
the craziest
that's
part of
crazy.
this. Holy shit.
He didn't do it.
Yeah.
He's like, listen, Steve, I have an idea for something that I think will go viral. Not because of how messed up it is,
Yeah.
but because of how funny it is.
How much to do that? Like, how much do you think he offered? How much was
No,
paid?
no, you just get to like sleep at his house and
Oh,
get
okay.
drunk on him and
All
eat
right.
all his food. And all you have
Right.
to do is Photoshop a picture of a guy who people think is not good at his job,
Right.
so that he
Choose the
looks.
greatest monster of the 20th century.
Yeah. That's going to do it for
That's
this
gonna do
episode.
That's gonna do it.
Let's get a win in Houston. And then those dirty birds, they're coming. They're coming before you know it.
Right?
Huge shout out to Liveberg Studios. Check them out, livebergstudio.com. Huge thanks to our producer, Ben Stonium. If you haven't seen Striking Distance,
What are you doing?
what are you doing? Don't wait for the bye week. Get a 15 rack of Icy Light and fire it up
Right?
Saturday night instead of watching the Pitt game, because why wouldn't you? It's the Untitled Pittsburgh Sports Comedy Podcast on the Bet Rivers Network.